$5,000. That's the rumored price for NVIDIA's new RTX 590. And if that number made your stomach drop, you're not alone. But here's the thing, everyone screaming about this is looking at the wrong problem. This isn't about GPUs getting expensive. This is about AI companies literally eating the tech industry alive, and we're just collateral damage in a war most people don't even realize is happening. What I found digging into this is gonna change how you see this whole mess. Let's go. Alright, so you've probably already seen the headlines. Korean news outlet drops a bomb. NVIDIA and AMD are planning massive price hikes starting January. The RTX 5090 that launched at $2,000 could hit $5,000 by the end of next year. And it's not a one-time thing. They're planning to raise prices every single month throughout 2026. The official excuse: memory costs. VRAM prices have gone absolutely insane. Industry people are saying memory now makes up 80% of what it costs to build a GPU. That used to be like 30%. And most tech channels will tell you, oh, AI is eating all the memory, supply and demand, economics 101, buy now or cry later. Which, yeah, technically true. But that's the most boring surface level take possible, because I think there's something way more interesting going on here. I actually have a theory about this $5,000 number. I think it's fake, or rather it's paid. Think about it. $5,000 for a graphics card is so insane that it dominated every tech news site for like 48 hours straight. But here's the thing about psychology: when you hear a ridiculously high number first, anything lower than that suddenly seems reasonable. One Redditor nailed it. They leak 5,000, so when it's actually $3,500, we'll say thank God, what a deal. And that's the trap, right? Because $3,500 is still a 75% increase. That's still absolutely bonkers. But compared to $5,000, it sounds okay. Now look, I'm not saying NVIDIA definitely did this on purpose. I'm not saying there's some evil boardroom meeting where they planned the whole thing. But what I am saying is, even if this leak was accidental, companies are 100% gonna use it as a strategy. They're watching how we react, they're reading the room, and they're gonna land on the absolute highest price we'll tolerate. And that's the game. But let's talk about what's ACDUALY causing all this, because it's way darker than just AI costs money. Right now, we're in the middle of what experts are calling a memory supercycle. And honestly, it's kinda genius in a horrifying way. Here's how it works. Companies like OpenAI, Google, Meta, they're building AI data centers at a scale we've never seen before. Each one of those servers needs a massive amount of memory. We're talking 200 gigabytes per server versus the 16 gigs in your laptop. And by next year, AI is gonna consume 20% of all DRAM production on Earth. 20%. For an industry that basically didn't exist 3 years ago. So now Samsung, SK, Hynix, Micron, these memory companies, they've got limited factory space, right? And they have to choose. Do we make regular memory for gamers and consumers? Or do we make this fancy high bandwidth memory for AI companies who pay literally anything? It's not even a choice. They follow the money. And the numbers are stupid. That basic DDR5 chip, $5 in May, $20 by November, nearly 4 times more expensive in 6 months. Some components saw 2 to 46% price increase in 60 days. 60 days. And here's the part that makes me laugh in like a dark way. AI companies are spending billions building infrastructure to bring AI to regular people. But the cost of that infrastructure is making it impossible for regular people to afford the hardware to USE that AI. It's like burning down your restaurant to cook faster. Sure, you're cooking faster, but nobody can eat anymore. Okay, so here's something most Western tech channels aren't talking about. There's this massive underground market in China right now where people are buying consumer GPUs and converting them into AI cards. Remember when NVIDIA said they were cutting production of the 5060 Ti and 5070? Yeah, they're not cutting production. The cards just aren't reaching us. Third-party sellers are buying thousands of retail GPUs, stripping them down and turning them into these custom blower style cards optimized for AI workloads. We're seeing 5i6 T16GB AI editions, 5r70 blowers, even 32GB versions of cards that don't officially exist. These aren't fake cards, they're real GPUs being pulled out of the consumer supply chain and flipped to AI farms. So when you can't find a 5070 in stock, it might not be sold out. It might already be running ChatGPT in a server room in Shenzhen. And that tells you everything you need to know about where the real money is in tech right now. Alright, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about what this actually means for you, because GPU price is bad is obvious. I want to break this down by who you are. If you're a PC gamer playing at 1080p or 1440p, your old card is probably fine for another 2-3 years. I know people still rocking GTX 1080s who play everything at high settings. The RTX 590 was never for you anyway. It's a hollow product for people with more money than sense. Here's your move. If you need an upgrade right now, go used. RTX 3090 has 24GB of RAM. You can find it for 700-900 and it crushes basically every modern game. Or the RTX 4080 dropped to MSRP, so it's actually decent value while the 5090 is in crazy town pricing. AMD's RX 7900 XTX is another option, 24 gigs for under 900. Just don't look at ray tracing benchmarks and you'll be happy. If you're a video editor or 3D artist, this one hurts because you actually need the VRAM. But here's the secret, the RTX 3090 is still your best friend. Same 24GB as the 4090, fraction of the price on the used market. Or honestly, start looking at cloud rendering. I know it sounds weird, but the math is shifting. Paying $50 a month for render hours might dropping $3,500 on a card that's outdated in 2 years. If you're a student or on a tight budget, you're basically locked out of new high-end hardware. But the good news is you probably don't need it. The used market is your friend. GTX 1080 Ti, RTX 2070, RX 5700 XT, all under 300 used, all totally viable for gaming and learning. Unless you're specifically doing machine learning or professional rendering, you don't need bleeding edge hardware. And if you're trying to train AI models, I've got bad news. You're competing with OpenAI and Google for memory. You're gonna lose. Cloud is basically your only option unless you're venture funded. Look at AWS spot instances, Azure, even Google Colab Pro. Consumer GPUs are a stopgap, not a solution. Console gamers, your PS5 just got a longer lifespan. The PS6 is definitely delayed because of this memory crisis. So don't sell your current console hoping for a pro model anytime soon. Quick history lesson, because some of you are probably thinking, didn't we just deal with this during crypto mining? Yeah. But this is different. 2017 crypto boom. GPU prices spiked to 3x, lasted 18 months, then crypto crashed and cards flooded the used market. Prices went back to normal. 2020 pandemic, couldn't find GPUs anywhere, prices hit 4x MSRP. But again, when crypto crashed and chip shortages eased, everything came back down. But this AI boom, it's not speculative, it's structural. Crypto mining was individuals gambling. AI is trillion-dollar companies investing for the long term. They're building factories. They're signing 10-year contracts. This isn't a bubble waiting to pop. It's a permanent shift in where memory goes. The old GPU crisis ended because the bubble burst. This one might not end. We're just waiting for supply to catch up with demand, and new memory fabs take 3 to 5 years to build. So yeah, we might be waiting a while. Okay, so what do you actually do about this? Because just buy now before it's too late is panic talk. Option 1 team, play the used market. 3 or 94 700 900 is genuinely great value. 24GB VRAM handles everything. RTX 470 Ti used is around 600, perfect for 1440p gaming. Here's a weird one though, the RTX 4090 used at $2 200 might actually APPRECIT in value if new ones hit 5 grand. I'm not saying it's an investment, but it might hold its value better than most electronics. Option 2, Leo cloud gaming. Hear me out. If you play 10-20 hours a month, GeForce Now Ultimate is $20 a month. Do the math, that's $240 a year. Versus $3,000 for a card that's outdated in 3 years. I know cloud gaming sounds like a meme, but for casual players, the economics are actually starting to make sense. Option 3. Just wait. Your current card probably works fine. Turn settings down from ultra to high. You literally won't notice the difference half the time. Most games coming out in 2026 don't need 5 grand graphics cards. The industry can't afford to make games that require that level of hardware. Nobody would buy them. And honestly, if enough people refuse to pay $3,500 for a GPU, prices HAV to come down. I know that sounds naive, but companies only charge what the market will bear. If we don't bear it, they'll adjust. Alright, predictions. Here's what I think actually happens next 3 months. Price go up 10-20% across the board. RTX 5090 settles around 200-803. Not 5 grand, but not 2 grand either. Used market prices INCRAS as people panic buy alternatives. Mid-2026. Shortages continue. Some PC manufacturers start offering builds with no RAM included. You have to source it yourself. IDC predicts PC shipments drop 5-9%. We're in for a rough year, 2027 and beyond. New memory fabs come online. Supply starts catching up. Prices stabilize at a new normal that's higher than 2024 but lower than peak 2026. Or AI keeps accelerating, demand keeps outpacing supply, and consumer hardware just becomes a luxury category. Most people shift to cloud and streaming permanently. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Short-term pain, long-term adjustment. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. We are entering the worst era for PC hardware pricing most of us have ever seen. Not because of scalpers, not because of a temporary shortage, but because the entire tech industry decided AI is more profitable than selling you graphics cards. And honestly, they're probably right. But here's the thing, you don't have to play along. You don't need an RTX 5090. You probably don't even need a 5070. Most of you watching this right now are running games perfectly fine on whatever you've got. And the games coming out next year aren't gonna suddenly require 5 grand worth of silicon. My actual advice, assess what your real LY need. Don't upgrade because of FOMO. Explore the alternatives, used market, cloud gaming. Even consoles are valid options right now. Wait if you can. Desperation leads to overpaying. And speak with your wallet. If we all refuse to pay insane prices, companies will adjust. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. This isn't the end of PC gaming. It's just a shift. Maybe toward longer upgrade cycles, less waste, more thoughtful hardware choices. Or maybe I'm just coping because I can't afford a $5,000 GPU either. Either way, we're in this together. So what's your situation? Are you buying now before prices spike, waiting it out, going cloud, switching to console, or just crying in a corner? Drop a comment. I actually read these. And look, if you appreciated that I did actual research here, instead of just reading headlines and freaking out, hit the like button. I'm trying to bring real analysis to this stuff, not just rage bait. Next video, I'm diving deep into the used GPU market. How to spot fakes, best deals right now, whether buying used is even safe anymore. Should be interesting. Subscribe if you want that. Alright, that's it. Stay smart, don't let FOMO wreck your bank account, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.